If you are a new YouTuber looking to grow your channel, I'm sure that you've heard somewhere along the lines that consistency is key, right?
I've posted 101 videos on my channel so far just in the past 15 months. So you could say I found a way to be consistent.
So in this video, I'm going to share my top 3 tips for staying consistent. This is how I personally do it, and it works really well for me. So I'm just going to share it with you, and you can take what serves you and feel free to leave the rest. My first tip is to set a realistic goal. So when I started taking YouTube seriously, my goal was to post 1 video a week for the next 10 years. Okay, 10 years. That is a very long time horizon. I'm doing YouTube on the side. Like, I'm a single mom, I have a business. So this is something that I'm doing like extra for me. So anyway, so I only have a few hours a week to dedicate to my channel, and I knew that if I set a goal of any more than 1 video a week, that would just not be sustainable. Set the bar low. Even if you feel like you want to produce 3 videos a week, cool. Give yourself the challenge of like, I at the bare minimum am going to release 1 video a week. And if you have it in you to make 3, go for it. Tip number 2, keep the process simple. I'm always asking myself, what is the simplest way I can film this video? What is the simplest way I can edit this? I keep the process really fun for myself. So simple and fun. That should be a tip in and of itself. Okay, that's tip 2, part B. Anyways, this is how I keep it simple. I film all my videos on my phone. I have an iPhone 15 Pro Max or whatever it's called. I keep my setup really simple. I have a handheld tripod that I literally just set on my table like right now, and then I sit down here and film a video. Sometimes I film videos in my car. Sometimes I film videos like when I'm taking a walk or whatever. Like I do different things. I don't always just like sit right here in this chair. The point is I just keep the process extremely simple, like phone, tripod, and then for editing, I keep that process really simple as well. The editing tool that I like to use is CapCut Pro. And then I'll give myself a deadline and tell myself I'm not spending more than an hour editing this. And usually I spend way less. Like sometimes it's only 30 minutes, and I keep the edits very simple for myself and fun. Like I'll cut out all of the mistakes or the long pauses, like where I forget what I'm saying, or if I say something that's super redundant, I'll cut that out. Sometimes I add music if I want to. Maybe I'll add some text on screen or some like overlays or some B-roll footage that I've filmed. I keep it very, very simple for myself, and I don't overthink the editing. I did hire an editor for a short period of time. I've taken a little break from that because my goal in hiring an editor in the first place was to save time so that I would have an easier time producing 1 video a week. But what I found was that I was actually spending more time trying to communicate and like give direction and set her up for success to like bring my vision for the video to life. The whole back and forth process actually ended up taking way longer. It was saving me the time on actually me sitting down and editing. However, it took more of my mental capacity because the video was like in process for like up to a week of all the back and forth and all this stuff. And so that actually made the process way more complicated for me and took up a longer time in my mind. And I'm just at a phase in my life right now where I can't have a heavy mental load. Like anytime my mind feels overwhelmed, like I'm just like, I need to like eliminate stuff out of my life because I don't have the mental capacity. Like I have a lot of responsibility. I'm a single mom. I'm an entrepreneur. Like I'm juggling a lot. Okay. And so, and like I said, I have a little chunk of time once a week to dedicate to my YouTube channel, and that's it, because this is not like my whole life doesn't revolve around YouTube. This is a part of my life. So anyways, the mental load of having like the whole process of me recording the video to getting it back from the editor to take a week was just, it was too heavy on my mind and too many steps. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put a pause on this. Eventually, I would love to have an editor again, and I will work with the same one because I absolutely love her and she's amazing. I'm just not ready for that step yet. Like I need to kind of get into my own groove more, understand like kind of, you know, what I want the vibe of my videos to be like. I'm still discovering that. I'm in as of today, I've posted 101 videos. So this is my 102nd, number 102. How do you say that? This is my 102nd video. That sounds weird. This is video number 102. And I still feel like I'm like trying to get into my groove and find a repeatable process that I can do every single week. Now, like I told you, I kind of do have a process already, like film on my phone, keep the edits simple, but like sometimes I don't like to sit down here and I like to walk instead. Or sometimes I film extra B-roll footage and sometimes I don't. So like, I don't have like a cookie cutter pattern of how I produce videos. Each week it feels a little bit different and I'm experimenting and whatever, but that's the point. I'm really in this phase where I'm trying to find my groove and like how I like to do it and how it's fun, and how I can do it efficiently and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just like really in this massive experimentation phase, and I don't feel ready for an editor at this time because it feels like it's actually going to cost me more time and mental energy than the time it's going to save me. So I'm like, at this phase of the YouTube game, I'm doing simple edits. That's it. Okay, tip number 3 is to give yourself a deadline. So what I mean by that is I time block in my calendar once a week about a chunk of 4 hours. Like that's my YouTube time. I actually give myself a challenge to produce a video from start to finish in 3 hours or less. I give myself 4 because sometimes it does take me longer. Like why I like to do that is it helps me not overthink the whole thing. It helps me let go of perfection. Like this, here's a funny story. So in the video that I filmed last week, it was like a rant video and I was just like on a rant and I was like, blah, 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 blah. And when I was editing it, there was this part of the video where like a giant piece of spit literally like comes out of my mouth, like a cartoon, and was like, whoop, like a jump, like a kangaroo jumping over something. So hilarious. Like as I was watching it, I was like, oh my God. First of all, I didn't even know that I could spit like that while talking. Like I was like, it reminded me of that Friends episode where Joey's in that movie, like they're like playing soldiers or something, and the other actor is like trying to really pronounce his words and he's like spitting in Joey's face, and then he's like, yeah, that's what good actors do, they spit. And then Joey's like, okay. And then he starts spitting in the other actor's face. That it reminded me of that. Good thing I don't embarrass easily, but if I did embarrass easily, that's a really embarrassing moment. And I tried to cut it out, but I couldn't edit that part out without losing what I was saying to keep up with my challenge of just get it done. Like done is better than perfect. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna publish this video with a giant piece of spit flying at the camera in it. And who knows, then my mind was like, oh my God, the comment section is gonna be like, did you see that girl spit? You know? I released the video with the giant flying spit in it, and that's my point. Like when I give myself this deadline of like, just get it done, let go of perfection, keep the edits simple, it helps me move past those things where like, if I didn't have that rule for myself in place, I could have wasted like 2 hours trying to figure out how to edit out that like little piece of spit, you know? And it's like, it's just not worth the time or energy. And editing that out doesn't add any extra value to the viewer. Like the viewer is going to get more value if I just leave it in because I was speaking from the heart and what I had to say was valuable for the viewer to hear for the right, you know, listener of that video. So another mistake I made in that is I referenced somebody and I said her name backwards. And then because she has like 3 names, it's Kaylin. Oh God, I keep messing up the order. It's Kaylin Apple Grace. And I said Kaylin Grace Apple or something like I messed up the apple and the Grace. And so then instead of refilming that piece and making the whole thing complicated for myself, I wrote a note in the description box like, hey, Kaylin, if you see this video, sorry that I said your name backwards, you know. A video will never feel finished. There's always ways that you can make it better. There's always going to be parts that you feel like you can go back and reshoot and, you know, make this edit better or whatever. What I have found, if I obsess over trying to make it perfect, like you could end up spending 30 hours on a video to make like a 10-minute video. And that is a lot of time. That doesn't sound like fun to me. That would make the process feel like really heavy. And I want to enjoy the process. I'm prioritizing fun over strategy, which is what Kaylin Grace Apple. Oh God, I've said her name too many times now that I don't know the correct order. That was the point that I learned from her last week, was about prioritizing fun over strategy, which is totally in alignment with my whole entire like approach to YouTube in the first place. Like, I want to have fun, I want to enjoy the journey, and I want to be consistent because I do want to live up to my challenge that I set for myself of posting one video a week for 10 years and then hopefully longer. YouTube is a long-term thing for me. I hope you found this helpful. If you found even an ounce of value in this video, please hit that thumbs up button because that helps YouTube serve the video up to people like you who could also find value from it. And then maybe you would like to subscribe and watch this video next on my channel.